All right, so another deep dive today.
Yeah.
And this time, we're going all the way to 18th century China to explore Dream of the Red Chamber, or as it's sometimes known, the story of the stone.
Okay.
We've got the Wikipedia article here, and
Yeah.
wow, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
A really complex novel, one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature.
It's an incredible piece of literature, written in the 1740s by Cao Shuqing. But, and this is interesting, it wasn't actually published until decades after his death.
Oh, wow.
And there's even debate about whether the ending we read today was the one he intended.
Oh, really? That's so interesting. And I think that's where we'll start then, with this whole sentient stone that wants to experience the human world. I mean, it's not your average novel opening. What do you make of it?
It's ingenious, really. I mean, I think it sets up the novel's central theme of truth versus illusion. You have the stone, right? Just a leftover from creation. And it's reborn as Jia Baoyu, our main character.
Sure.
It's almost like Cao Shuqing is asking, is Baoyu's life, and by extension, all human life, just a fleeting dream?
Yeah. And what a dream it is. I mean, the Jia clan, their lavish parties, luxurious lifestyle. It's almost overwhelming just reading about their wealth.
Right. Yeah, that opulence. It's deliberate. It reflects the author's own family history. They were a prominent clan that eventually fell from grace.
Oh.
Some scholars even see it as a metaphor for the Qing dynasty itself, hinting at its eventual decline.
Ah, okay. So this isn't just a love story. It's social commentary, a reflection on power and its impermanence.
Yeah, exactly. And then within this grand setting, you have the intricacies of the Jia family itself, the Rambo and Ningguo houses. These 2 branches are constantly vying for power and influence.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of a Shakespearean play, all the family drama and political maneuvering. But back to Baoyu for a second. He's caught in this love triangle, right?
Yes.
Torn between Lin Daiyu and Xu Baochai.
Yeah, and these women, they're so brilliantly drawn. Daiyu, the intellectual, the melancholic soulmate. She represents passionate love, I think, Baochai. She's practical and socially adept, embodies societal expectations.
Makes sense.
And this is a conflict that I think a lot of us can relate to, even today.
Oh.
Following your heart versus choosing the sensible path.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, was Calvity drawing on his own experiences with love and societal pressure?
It's certainly possible, I mean. The emotional depth of this novel suggests a writer who has grappled with these questions himself.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's not just Baoyu and his loves that make this story so captivating. It's the supporting characters as well.
Right.
I mean, we have Wang Shifeng, the manager of Rongguo House. Capable, ruthless, but also fascinating.
She's a perfect example of female agency within a patriarchal society. Think about it. She's running the show, wielding significant power.
Yeah.
I think it challenges our assumptions about women's roles in that era.
That's a great point. Yeah, she's not just a villain. She's navigating a complex system.
Yeah.
Using her wit and intelligence to survive and maybe even thrive.
Precisely. And then you have Granny Lu providing the stark contrast to the aristocratic world.
Yeah, she's the comic relief, but also a reminder of the resilience and resourcefulness of ordinary people.
Right. It's like she's offering an outside perspective, a grounding force amidst all this extravagance.
Yeah, I like that. And speaking of contrasting characters, I was really struck by Qingwen, one of Baoyu's maids. There's something so tragic about her story.
Absolutely. Qingwen is beautiful, defiant, fiercely loyal to Baoyu. I think some scholars see her as a parallel to Daiyu, sharing her independent spirit, but she lacks the protection of family status. And her fate highlights the harsh realities faced by women in that society, regardless of their intelligence or beauty.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it really makes you think about how even within a wealthy family, women were often trapped by these societal expectations and limited choices. And it makes you think about the Red Chamber itself. I mean, both the physical space of the women's quarters, but also this overarching metaphor for the whole novel.
Yeah.
What do you make of that symbolism?
I think it's a brilliant, multi-layered symbol. On one hand, it does represent the confines of the women's world, their lives largely restricted to these inner chambers. But it also alludes to Baoyu's dream back in chapter 5, which foreshadows the tragic destinies of many characters.
And the title itself, Dream of the Red Chamber, it suggests that all this beauty, all this grandeur is ultimately fleeting, like a dream.
Exactly. Yeah, it ties back to that theme of truth versus illusion. Are we truly experiencing reality, or are we living in this kind of dream world, blinded by our desires and attachments?
Yeah. And you see that in the family names too, right? Geo
Yeah.
sounding like false, and then Zen echoing true. It's
Right.
like Cal Wiccan is playing with our perceptions, making us question what's real
Mm.
and what's imagined.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
constantly blurring the lines. And that makes you think about the connection between the novel and the author's own life. How much of this is autobiographical? How much of it is pure artistic creation?
It's one of the biggest debates surrounding the novel. I mean, there are so many parallels to Cal Wiccan's family history
Right.
and the decline of his own clan.
Right, but there's also this powerful sense of artistry. Like he's taking his personal experience and he's weaving it into a larger tapestry that explores these universal human emotions.
Okay, yeah.
He's using this family drama to ponder these big questions like love and loss, the search for meaning.
And we can't forget the philosophical underpinnings as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this novel, it's steeped in Buddhist and Taoist thought, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's there in the exploration of impermanence, the fleeting nature of material wealth, the idea of detachment from worldly desires. I mean, even the Buddhist concept of emptiness, that everything's interconnected, constantly changing, that's woven throughout the whole narrative.
So even though this novel was written centuries ago, it's still relevant today because it grapples with these timeless questions, the search for meaning and purpose, in a world that often feels transient and illusory.
Precisely. And speaking of things that feel illusory, we have to address the controversy surrounding the ending of Dream of the Red Chamber,
Okay.
the last 40 chapters, added by editors Gao Yi and Sheng Weiyuan, have been the subject of so much debate.
Yeah, so are we reading Cal Wiccan's intended ending? Or is it something that these editors cobbled together years later?
That's the question. That has puzzled scholars for generations. Some believe that Gao Yi and Sheng Weiyuan might have had access to notes or drafts left by Cao Wiccan, while others are convinced that they fabricated the ending, potentially altering the novel's message.
And there were those rouge versions as well.
Yeah.
Early manuscripts with intriguing annotations that suggest alternative endings or interpretations.
It's like this literary puzzle. We may never know for certain what Cao Wiccan intended, but the fact that there are so many theories and interpretations is a testament to the novel's enduring power. I mean, it continues to spark debate and inspire new readings, even centuries later.
This is fascinating. But beyond the scholarly debates, what do you think readers today can gain from diving into this complex and multifaceted world?
I think it offers such a rich and rewarding experience on so many levels. I mean, you can enjoy it as a compelling story with these unforgettable characters and intricate relationships. You can appreciate the beauty of the language and the cultural insights that it provides, and you can delve deeper into these philosophical themes and grapple with the questions that it raises about truth, illusion, and the meaning of life.
Yeah, it really sounds like Dream of the Red Chamber offers something for everyone, no matter your background or interests. I mean, you can get lost in the romance, the family drama, the cultural details, or even the philosophical depths.
Exactly, and that's what makes it such a timeless masterpiece, I think.
Yeah.
It can be read on so many levels, and each reading can reveal something new. You might connect with different characters, notice new details, or even change your interpretation of the ending.
Yeah, that's what I love about classic literature. It invites us to engage in this ongoing conversation, to debate interpretations and find our own personal meaning.
Yeah, and Dream of the Red Chamber is a particularly rich text for that kind of engagement. I mean, even something seemingly simple like the color red can hold multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Love, passion, but also warning, danger, even the fleeting beauty of youth.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I mean, you've pointed out so many layers I wouldn't have noticed on my own. But before we wrap up, I have to ask about those conflicting interpretations of Bayou. I mean, some see him as a sensitive soul, trapped in a rigid society. Others as a spoiled, indecisive young man. What do you think?
It's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, Cao Wiccan deliberately creates a character who is both sympathetic and frustrating. Bayou challenges societal norms, but he also benefits from his privileged position. He's deeply compassionate towards women, yet he can also be thoughtless and immature.
Maybe that's what makes him so compelling. He's not a simple hero or villain. He's a complex, flawed human being like the rest of us.
Precisely, and that's what makes Dream of the Red Chamber so relatable, even centuries later. I mean, it holds up a mirror to human nature, showing us all its complexities and contradictions.
So, to our listener, if you're ready to embark on a literary adventure, I highly recommend diving into Dream of the Red Chamber. But be prepared for a long and winding journey, but one filled with beauty, heartache, and profound insights into the human condition.
And as you journey through this captivating world, remember that final thought-provoking question we posed. Are we all, in some way, living in a red chamber dream? Are we shaped by illusions, societal expectations, our own desires and fears?
It's a question that stays with you long after you finish the novel.
Yeah.
It encourages you to examine your own life, your choices, and the stories you tell yourself.
And perhaps, through that examination, you might find a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you.
Thank you so much for guiding us on this incredible deep dive. It's been such a pleasure exploring Dream of the Red Chamber with you.
The pleasure was all mine, and I hope our listeners feel inspired to delve into this extraordinary novel and discover its magic for themselves.